The following program contains mature subject matter. Listener discretion is advised.
Taking a relationship to the next level. This is Passion with Dr. Laurie.
Welcome to Passion, a show about love, sex, and relationships. Tonight on the program, it's our monthly feature, Dating Dilemmas. Although, I have to say, 2 weeks ago for Valentine's Day, we did dedicate the show, Valentine's show, to singles everywhere. But we brought back a panel to discuss singlehood yet again because, well, this is our regular feature, Dating Dilemmas, which is brought to you by EliteSpeedDating.com. We have in studio with us Frank Kermit. He is a dating coach. He's the author of many books on the topic of dating. He can be found at FrankTalks.com. And we have Gerald Morisseau, who is the founder and president of Elite Speed Dating, with us here. And he's with us every month as well to share some of his knowledge and what he's learned over the years of running a speed dating event. You've had your share of meeting single people, right?
Indeed. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, doctor.
All right, great. So 2 weeks ago, we just scratched the surface of the topic that we were talking about. We had an enormous amount of texts and calls and people wanting to talk about. And the topic we brought up was, what is holding you back? And we wanted to help people, get over that, help them identify what's holding them back and help them get through that. And really, I think what we concluded, what's holding everybody back is a fear of something. So maybe we can talk about those fears tonight. And we ask you, our listener, if you're single or you recently were single and, or if you think back to your dating life, what held you back, or what were your biggest fears when it came to dating? Or maybe you didn't have any fears at all. And it'll be interesting to know, how is it that some people don't have a fear and are very excited about the dating process and don't worry about it too much, or others who have such intense fears that they don't actually go out there. So there's a lot to cover here.
There's definitely a lot to cover. The last time we were on air, the question was, what's holding you back? Almost everybody had named something that was holding them back, and it was always based in fear. Fear of getting a divorce, fear of getting rejected, fear of getting cheated on. I mean, these were some of the common ones. Fear of not being able to meet somebody that they can trust. The fear of trusting the wrong person. Mm-hmm. Sometimes fear of trust in general. Fear of getting scammed. Fear of getting a heart broken. I mean, heartbreak is not a pleasant thing.
No, but it is it's part of life. Do you know anybody who's never been heartbroken? I don't.
It's not a question of not getting your heart broken. It's a question of to what degree. People who don't have experience or don't have coaching or don't know how to enter the world of dating sometimes go into dating with ridiculous expectations.
Okay.
And then when those expectations are not met, boom, the reaction to that, the heartbreak from that, it can be devastating for some people.
Even if there wasn't a huge investment even.
It could have been one date.
Oh,
but if
wow.
they built up this idea that, wow, I found the perfect person, and they're building up this future, and they are hypnotizing themselves into believing that it's more than what it was. And when the person says, I'm just not feeling it, I don't think we're compatible, I don't want to see you again, the devastation of that rejection is not in proportion to the investment that was made in dating.
Right.
But that's what a lot of people are experiencing. And that's where a lot of the pain comes in.
So it's the degree of the heartbreak.
Exactly.
And the heartbreak is also determined by the expectations.
If somebody has gone through devastating heartbreak after devastating heartbreak after devastating heartbreak, it makes sense that they would develop a phobia to the idea of dating and getting involved.
But we have to address the heartbreak. Why the heartbreak, right? If you don't address this devastating heartbreak every time, which, of course, you're going to be rejected and not everybody you meet is going to be the perfect fit and all of that. That's the reality. If that person doesn't get help to adjust their expectations, they're going to keep being heartbroken, and then we'll just end up being alone because they are avoiding it.
But what renders that heartbreak devastating?
That's what we have to find out. And well, I think Frank hit the nail on the head there when he said it's your expectations. right? You're devastated if you have these incredibly high expectations. I think that's why speed dating works, because
Exactly.
there's no there's no real expectations in speed dating.
No, there's
except
no real
we're just going to have a conversation.
Exactly. You have 5 minutes. You're just going to have that conversation and get to meet people. So your expectations, usually when people finally decide that they're ready, their expectations are, let me see if I can meet. And it doesn't go other than that. Obviously,
Right.
you have some people who think they're going to find Mr. and Mrs. Right in 5 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
Right? But that's not the majority. But the
No.
majority of people are there to finally get out there and meet people.
Right. So their expectations are just that. I'm just going out there to talk to people, meet people. Yes, there's a hope I might click with somebody.
Exactly.
But if I don't, it's not going to heartbreak me. So
Yes.
there's a different kind of expectation in that. But I think online dating poses a danger because often people connect without meeting, right? So they'll connect, they'll have these conversations, and the person seems so perfect in writing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So you build up this expectation of what this relationship is going to be, and then you meet them, and it's not at all what you expected, or it doesn't click, or it doesn't gel, or no chemistry, or whatever it is. So there is a bit of a danger there. So I always recommend people meet as soon as possible.
When you're meeting through online dating, the rule generally is when you're meeting through an app, you want to meet within the first 24 hours because you're just inundated with so much competition that if you do make a connection, meet within 24 hours. If you're going through a profile-based online dating site, meet within the first week.
Yeah. Okay. Well, but to me, that makes perfect sense. We got a couple of texts here. Fear to be, so we're talking about fears. What are your dating fears, or what do you fear about dating? Fear to be emotionally activated the wrong way and be unable to anticipate it. So I'm thinking you mean fear of being triggered somehow. When that's your fear, you need to figure out your triggers. So therapy is the precursor to you getting out there, because you need to figure out and have a better understanding of yourself, so that, because people trigger us all the time, right? Like you may meet somebody who is like, who may be critical like your mother. Like, do you know what I mean?
But what does that person mean? Because fear of being there was a second part
Emotionally activated the wrong way and be unable to anticipate it. In other words, predict it, I guess.
What's the right and the wrong way to be activated?
Yeah.
Well, that's it. You can't.
This sounds
These
like
are
control.
well.
This
These
sounds
are
like
things
a
you
person-
can't control, right?
Yeah, and that's
Right.
that's the key for me. This sounds like a person who is used to being in control, feels safe when they're in control. And if somebody comes along and sparks them, makes them feel attraction, makes them feel seduced,
Makes them lose control.
and that can be very scary for some people. Because that's what I'm gathering from the second part of it. This is a person who likes being in control of themselves. And as Fred said, if this person loses control, that could be scary too. It's easier just
Right.
not to date than to risk that.
Right. That makes sense to me. Texter, you can clarify if you'd like. If we're off base, you can let us know for sure. Here's another one. Is it possible some people are addicted to dating? I have a friend who has been dating for the past 20 years on numerous dating sites, each with a different name and profile, but using the same pictures. Complains all the time of no matches. Something's up there, no?
Okay, they're on that many platforms and no
And
matches.
different names. So they are using different names.
No, different names is not a big deal. It's just a way to maintain privacy.
But I'm interested. What do you mean by no matches? Do they meet people?
I guess
and
they-
it doesn't last, or
no,
they don't
I
meet
think
anybody
people,
at all.
maybe people don't, they don't match to,
They
know
don't
how
match
these
the initial
sites,
match.
these sites match you up.
Okay, well, there's a number of things that could be along the way. There could be something in the person's profile that's a real turnoff, but the person is not aware.
That's something we talked about 2 weeks
Last
ago,
week,
is
yeah.
helping you figure out what could be in your profile that is turning somebody off. And this week I actually helped somebody create a better profile. And I looked at his profile and I said, oh, his profile comes off a little creepy. Like there's different ways of saying this that might make you a little more attractive, let's just say. So we can talk about that and anything else you want to talk about in regards to dating. It is our Dating Dilemmas segment tonight. Your fears around dating.
Your relationship's on the line. Connect with Dr. Laurie now. 514-790-0800. Passion. News Talk Radio. CJAD 800.
Dating Dilemmas tonight on the program. Frank Kermit and Fitzgerald Morisseau of EliteSpeedDating.com are here talking about dating fears. What are your dating fears? So I don't know if you want to go back to, can people be addicted to dating? Fritz, off air, we were talking about, it's the addicted to dating because you don't want a relationship.
Exactly.
It's possible, right?
That's what it's possible. I could relate myself because when I was dating a while back, and this was before Elite Speed Dating, I had just gotten dumped by a girlfriend, and my whole thing, it took me about a solid week of not eating and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And then when I started dating again, I was very much into dating, but my fear was to get into a relationship.
Okay.
So we could date as much as we wanted, but when it came to let's make this serious, I wanted none of it. So that could be
what it is. Then,
exactly.
Possibly. That would make sense.
I can definitely relate. My biggest fear was getting divorced and not being able to see my kids. I had that fear when I was single because of all the bad things that happened.
Okay.
Getting stood up at the prom, losing the ex-fiancé to the best friend, all heartache after heartache. And I remember thinking, if this continues, someday I'm going to be like a bunch of people I know. I'm going to be divorced and not see my kids. And that's what started me on this path.
Okay. So that was your fear.
I was terrified. I was terrified. I didn't want to have that life.
It's interesting because usually people who come from, I know you don't come from a divorce home, but people who do come from divorce homes often have that same fear.
I put myself out there, though. I never held back. No matter what I had working against me, I put myself out there. Okay. And I went out and I dated, and I got my heart so horribly stomped. I said, this keeps happening to me. This is not good. And it's going to get worse if I don't change.
Okay. Interesting.
But also, I just want to add something to the fear of being in a relationship. I didn't want to, not because I didn't enjoy relationships. I had relationships. I just enjoyed being alone a lot more at that time.
Okay.
Okay. So I think I was searching for myself and making sure that the next relationship that I'm in, I know that I'm comfortable with who I am.
So basically, you and Frank did pretty much the same thing in a different way, but you did some internal soul searching and changed certain things so that you could find the love of your life or the person that you wanted to finally have a relationship with. And to answer the person's question, is it possible to be addicted to dating? Of course. There's a lot of really good feelings when you're meeting somebody new and the honeymoon phase. Yeah. And everything is wonderful. And you walk through the streets and there's birds singing in the middle of winter and life is great and rainbows when there's no rainbow. And then things get kind of real, you get kind of bored, and you want that new relationship energy again. Yeah, well, then there are people who are addicted to that phase, right? Yes. They're addicted to love kind of people. All right, I have a few more texts here I'd like to share with you guys. I have a fear about being judged about my big pores since they are very visible in some light, only because I met a guy online who later said he doesn't like that I am hairy and don't have perfectly smooth skin. So basically, you've let one guy's comments dictate to you. Nobody else has said it. This one guy, and now you're insecure. Like how? Because of that, forget what he said, okay? Like really, you should not let that one guy dictate who you are. So what? Who cares what he thinks? My heart goes out for this person. It really does, because I know what it's like to fear being judged. I am a nearly 500-pound man now. When I go out on the street, I know I'm going to get judged. Mm-hmm. So my advice to you is this. Yes, you will get judged. You are going to get judged. Well, everybody does. We all get judged. Mm-hmm. And if you have something that's physically unappealing, you're going to get judged anyway. So own it.
just know it's going to happen and put yourself out there anyway.
Right.
You teach people how to treat you.
Right.
Okay. And look, my theory is this: 25% of the people out there are going to hate you just for no reason.
No matter what you do.
They're going to hate you. 25% of the people are going to love you no matter what you do.
Right.
And the remaining 50% are waiting for you to teach them how to treat you and how to accept you. Accept yourself, the rest will follow.
I think that's really important. It really is about, I know it sounds very cliche, loving oneself, but how do you have somebody else love you if you don't love yourself? And we all have faults, and nobody is perfect. There are very few people who are perfect physically. That's for damn sure. So I think, loving yourself as you are, and love and attraction and all of that is far more than your pores on your face or the hairs on your arms or any of that stuff, or the weight around your belly.
How you love yourself is infectious. If you really respect and adore yourself, and I'm not saying you have to look at it and say, no,
You're not
I'm
a narcissist.
perfect.
It's not about being narcissistic.
And it's not about ignoring what you've got working against you. It's about just accepting and saying, look, I know I got these things working against me, but I got a lot of other amazing qualities that make me an awesome person. So yeah, when you're with me, you're going to have to do without X, Y, and Z, but I am great at A, B, and C.
Yeah, exactly. Another texter writes, I was scammed by this hot black girl, and intelligent, practiced at the art of deception. I was hurt. I was with her 2 years, helped her, gave her money, bought her things, etc. I realized I was just being used and that she didn't really have feelings for me. I was captivated by her beauty and her mind. I'm 60. She's 38. Her thing she would say is, I'm giving you sex and I should be thankful. In other words, there's an exchange here. You're getting sex. You have to buy me all these things. And that sounds like an arrangement. That doesn't sound like she was in
prostitution.
love.
That sounds like prostitution. Dude, oh boy, my heart goes out to you too. I am so sorry you went through that. Here's how you move forward. There's something you got to learn in that. And what you got to learn is that you settled. This is an example of settling. Because you just wanted to be with a hot girl, you settled for someone that didn't treat you well.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, wait, I will say, I think the word prostitution may be a big. I would say maybe it was an arrangement.
Okay,
because he still stayed within.
But it wasn't an arrangement because he only realized later he was being used, right? She deceived him into thinking that she was into him. That's what
I don't get it
said.
that way. I think she would tell him that you're getting, whether that's nice or not, I'm not talking about the comment, but she would say that you would get sex and you should be grateful for it and you should buy me stuff. So I think those things are happening during the relationship and not at the end.
Right, but I guess when he complained about it, or when, maybe he felt like he might, like he wasn't getting the emotional part of what he was looking for.
No, see, I'll disagree with this. She didn't say, how can you say that I love you? She says, you're getting sex with me, so be happy.
And he says, okay.
No, he says, okay, I'll deal with it because I don't want to lose this. I don't want to be alone.
So I'll keep paying all of this.
So I'll keep paying.
And then feeling used. So you made the choice, right?
He made the choice.
Yeah, but again, his expectations, how does deception happen, right?
His
38 years old, he's 60 years old. The minute somebody wants you to pay for them, help me pay my rent, help do this and the other, that's like a red flag to me.
Yes, that's an unhealthy relationship. That's a lot of giving.
It's unbalanced.
Yes.
So what was he get? So she's saying, well, you're getting the sex, but that's not a balanced relationship.
Right.
But the fact that she would bring that up as her bargaining chip, not, what are you talking about? I care about you. I take care of you. I give to you as much as you give to me. No, her bargaining chip was, I'm hot. You're getting sex. Deal with it. Come on. It may be a question of degree.
Yeah.
Maybe a question of degree.
The texter who wrote about the friend addicted to dating says, my friend who has been dating for 20 years, I challenged him to prove he is not addicted to the chase. He has not spoken to me for 6 months. So you might have hit a nerve there, my friend.
Or maybe he just doesn't want to be dictated to, and he's enjoying his life.
He doesn't want to be judged by you, possibly.
It's like, prove to me this. Why? Who are you to him? I mean...
her friend, I guess. I don't know.
Well...
Yeah.
Come on,
maybe she's chasing him.
maybe she's interested or he's interested. Something's going
Maybe,
on there.
something.
We're not getting the full story.
No,
My
well.
gut's telling me that.
This texter writes, what about dating over 55 to 60? Difficult, with lots of exclamation marks. When, excuse me, when you still see yourself as a 35-year-old woman and older men remind you of your dad. Help!
Yeah. Okay. I did a little bit of research on dating for older women.
Okay.
And there are a lot of challenges because women typically are on the receiving end of sexual attention. Men are on the projecting end. As a woman gets older, especially if she's looking to date men within her age group, number one, there's less men around. Men typically die sooner than women within the same generation. And at that point, there are just not as many men available to date. So there's less men giving sexual attention. And unfortunately, not as many older women are getting the same level of attention than they used to.
Right, at 35. You may see yourself as 35, but you're not 35.
Look, you have to be realistic about what you offer. And if you offer a lot of great things, fantastic. But the same way that I'm a 500-pound man, I cannot see myself as a bodybuilder walking the street, okay? There's a disconnect to reality there, and it's going to work against you.
Right. Well, your fears, more of your fears. A lot of people have fears. We're getting lots and lots of text messages about dating. So this is our dating dilemmas. Fitzgerald Morisseau in studio along with Frank Kermit. More of your texts and questions and dating dilemmas.
The following program contains mature subject matter. Listener discretion is advised.
The latest trends and hottest topics, love and sex, handled honestly and with passion. Here's Dr. Laurie, CJAD 800.
Dating dilemmas tonight on the program. Frank Kermit, dating coach, Montreal's #1 dating coach, is here along with Fitzgerald Morisseau from Montreal's #1 speed dating company, elitespeeddating.com. And this is our dating dilemmas panel. We're talking about fears. What are your biggest fears when it comes to dating? And this was on the back of on Valentine's night when we talked about what holds people back from almost like what sabotages their chances of being with someone. So here's a couple of texts I find really interesting. When I was young, I heard the girls complaining bitterly about being hit on. I decided not to be that guy. As a result, I was alone for a long time until I decided to be that guy. Frank?
Well, that kind of mirrors my autobiography, From Loser to Seducer. Because when you are too nice, you don't get respected. You get liked. People like you.
You're in the friend zone a lot.
You want to be friends. Well, I changed some of my behaviors, and it's not that I'm not nice now. I think I am
You're
a nice guy
person,
now.
yeah.
I'm a nice person. I'm a generous person. But I don't give more than I want to give. I don't allow myself to be taken advantage of. And if I find that someone is disrespecting me or taking advantage of me, I cut them off.
Right.
Okay? I don't play
It's called boundaries.
So I get what you're saying. And look, as much as someone may complain about that, you have to look at who they're going out with. And this is a mistake I made as a child, because you listen to what they say, but you're not listening to what they do.
Mm-hmm.
They complain that they want a really great guy. Now, this is not everybody. Let's just be clear. This is not everybody. But if the girl that you're interested in complains that she wants to date a nice guy, but she only ends up dating jerks, and she rejects you, a nice guy, don't listen to what they say. Listen to what they do. And if what they're doing is that they respond emotionally to somebody who may not be a nice guy, you got to be mindful of that and realize that maybe in 10 or 15 years from now, you're going to be in a much better spot. And hopefully, if women who are making that decision to constantly respond emotionally to the jerks, if they don't go through some sort of a catharsis, they're going to be in a much worse spot.
But there is a way to hit on. Like that, women complain of being hit on. They complain of a lot of maybe unwanted kinds of attention or crude or different ways of being hit on.
Absolutely.
Right?
There's a way to approach where you're going to end up creeping everybody out. And there's a way to approach respectfully, whether it's with a joke, whether it's with a hello, or something very direct. Hi, my name is Frank. I saw you from over there. I wanted to meet you.
I agree that there's a way of approaching, and I think now, more so than ever with the whole Me Too movement, the way of approaching has now changed. Guys are going to have to adapt on how they approach.
Well, you know what? I have to tell you, it's never been okay. Pre-Me Too, it's never been okay for a guy to hit on you by touching you. You're in a bar and some guy rubs up against you. That's never okay. That is not a way to get a woman's attention in a positive manner. I don't care how good looking you are or whatever.
I agree that if for the touching, yes, but for some of the things that guys would say from time to time, right, on how you approach, hey, good looking. Now some guys won't even probably say that if you don't find that the person is good looking or the receiving person doesn't think that they're good looking.
Let's not go like that's a bit of an exaggeration that somebody can't just say hey good looking in a social situation when they're trying to meet somody.
I actually think
you do that at work, maybe that's a problem, but not in a social situation.
I've spoken to some people and at speed dating they have to alter. They're afraid now. Some guys are
okay, but that's taking it. That's again, we should know what the rules of respect are. Like, just respect people in general. That's
that I agree
that isn't
with you.
a harassment. If somebody says "bug off, creep," you bug off. If you persist,
Yes.
then you're a creep, and then it's something else.
So if somebody says, hey, good looking, you don't think that's harassment?
Nope. I think that's a compliment. Hey, or I ignore them. If they continue, though, if they are chasing me down, hey, talk to me, hey, blah, blah, blah. I was like, you know what? I ignored you, so please leave me alone.
What if a woman feels harassed by somebody saying, hey, good looking?
But is that a harassing statement to make, to call somebody good looking?
If she's on her way to go do some grocery shopping, and while she's from the time she parks the car to the time she gets into the grocery store and somebody sees her and says, hey, good looking, is it harassment if she feels harassed?
Well, she'll feel. I don't think so. Well, if you're looking at the legal sense of it, can somebody be found criminally responsible for that?
Well, in theory, no, but
I mean, seriously, I mean,
don't they have a rule in a city in Europe right now that men who do that type of simple approach can actually be fined?
I don't know.
all I wanted to
I
say
think
is the
it's a
game
little
is going
nuts.
to change.
The game is going to change, absolutely. All right, here's another thing. Every Saturday morning, there's breakfast for singles 50 plus, where 75 people show up. That's good. People often ask. You might want to give us the information as to where this is, by the way. I noticed men gather in small groups of 6 or 7 and don't approach women. What is the best way to approach these guys? It is intimidating. As a coach, you would never tell a bunch of guys to stand together around and not be open to,
Well, wait a minute. The question is, how do I approach
them?
men?
Because it's intimidating when, if you go to a singles event, this is what I'm gathering. So this is a female. She goes to a singles event. There are groups of guys. They're huddled together, 6 or 7 guys, having a conversation. How do you, excuse the pun, but penetrate that? That's like intimidating.
Okay, how do you break into a set?
More than a set, right? It's like a big set.
You're dealing with, first of all, a woman approaching a man is very different than a man approaching a woman. Okay?
I would disagree. I think it's the same thing.
Oh, no. It's not.
I think it's the same thing.
Then you is a fool.
I'm
but
going
you
with the
is a
dating
fool,
coach on this
okay?
I
one.
think it's the same.
So if you're a woman and you're approaching a group of guys, I guarantee you that most of the guys will be talking like, well, blah, 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 blah. Oh my goodness, girl, coming close, talking, this good.
But it's tough though to get through there.
And we were just talking about how the game is changing, and one of the ways the game has changed for women who are older is that they have to get comfortable with making the first move now.
Yes, exactly.
And what you're facing right now is what men have faced in our entire lives. And what are we told? Suck it up. Yeah. Man up. Approach. You want it, you go after it. So I'm going to give you a few tips on how you can approach a group.
Okay.
First of all, you approach the person who you make eye contact with first, because that is the most approachable person. When you make eye contact, you give a little nod. If they nod back, that's okay for you to approach. Now, when you go up and approach them, you say, I've seen you here before. You've come in for breakfast every other day. We still haven't met. My name is so-and-so. Your job is to meet at least one person in the group. Don't worry if it's not the specific man you're attracted to. What you want to do is approach the person in the group who will eventually introduce
you to the others.
Now,
right.
here's the key line. Here it is. And this is how you find out who's who and how to meet. You say, how does everybody here know each other? So the person who you've met initially will now say, well, this is Jerry and this is Bob. And, well, how do you two know each other? How does well, Bob and Jerry, well, I went to high school with Bob and I worked with Jerry. And now you're going to figure out who's around, who's available, who's most eligible, who seems to be the fun one, because you're getting introduced by somebody who's already gotten in on the group.
Right. So suck it up and do it.
Yeah.
See, this is why I
Basically.
say it's not different. I think it's the same because I agree with everything that you said. And the only thing that you changed with, instead of a guy approaching, it's now a woman. So there's nothing different. It's
But
still,
I think
everything
older
still applies
women-
the same.
Yes, there is, because when a woman approaches a man, he is more likely to be open and receptive to a conversation. When a man approaches a woman, he may be guy number 12 that has approached her, and she may just be fed up at that moment and say, I don't want to be approached anymore. I just want to get to the library.
Yeah, then that I think that's still applies today. I know. I'm
Look
with
at the
Frank.
wing
you know
woman.
what?
I'm with
Look at.
I'm
okay.
with Frank on that one, but we can continue this debate.
Straight talk that's all inclusive. Passion with Dr. Laurie. News Talk Radio. CJAD 800.
Dating dilemmas tonight on the program. We have Fitzgerald Morisseau of EliteSpeedDating.com and Frank Kermit, dating coach. So many text messages. We've been talking about fears, people's fears when it comes to dating. Dr. Laurie, I'm a 51-year-old single man who believes not everyone is attracted to everyone, so rejection is not a fear for me. Well, that's good thinking, because you're right.
Smart man.
Very smart. My advice to those who do fear rejection, go deliver pizza. You'll be amazed how many lonely people are out there. That's from Henry. I mean, that's the right attitude, actually, to realize that rejection is part of it, because not everybody's going to love you, and you're not going to click with everybody, and you're not going to love everybody else.
With that said, he's very right. There's a lot of lonely people out there. A big part of it is everybody's waiting for somebody else to make the first move.
So make the move. I seem to be a serial dater, this texter writes. I like to go on dates, but often there's no big spark. And then after a couple of dates, when I don't know what to make of the situation, and after the guy being the one constantly texting, I find it difficult to be the first to text, and often been told that I should make more of an effort to be the first to text sometimes. I want to play hard to get, but it annoys the other person. I have a bunch of guys on Facebook who I've never met and only message me when I post a selfie. You know, there's a playing hard to get, and there's like,
Why do you need to play the game?
yeah, why play the game?
Stop playing games. Get over the drama that you are living off of. If you continue to play games with people, you're going to end up alone with cats.
Cats are okay.
I love cats. Don't get me wrong. I love cats. But no cat wants to be with someone who nobody else wants to be with, okay?
So you don't have to play hard to get. Stop.
Stop.
It's the game. So
You're
if you're
playing
interested,
games, you're
right
playing
back.
games. Knock it off, okay?
Right.
That's why you have no idea how when you start playing games, you push away amazing people, because amazing people don't have time for your games, and they don't want to mess up their lives with somebody who needs to play games.
Okay. Boy, that was passionate. Women like to be hit on with respect. I agree with that texter. Another one says, yes, I agree. There is a difference on being hit on and being creeped on. I like walking a lot and get idiots shouting out their car windows, and sometimes cars slow down and follow me. Yeah, that's very creepy. That happens
very
pretty
creepy.
much to any woman. You know, it's happened to me multiple times and to other people. That is creepy. So back to the one the person you accused of being a prostitute. I think you were saying it facetiously, but hold on. So this person writes, I heard your comments. No, she wasn't a prostitute. She was only with me. She used the money I gave her towards her family. She's a single mother. She told me she loved me when she didn't. That's what hurts. So she was using him and manipulating him.
For the money.
Yeah, for the money. So, I mean, I think he's taking you at your word that she was an actual prostitute. She wasn't an actual prostitute, but you're talking about the exchange of sex for money. That's really what you were saying.
It's the exchange of sex. Dude, stop defending her. You're still doing it. You're still, after everything she did, you admit she lied. You admit it, and you're still defending her. This is the problem, and this is why you're going to get taken advantage of again. Boundaries, dude.
Yeah, boundaries. Boundaries are important. You guys are absolutely right. You have to love yourself first before you can love anyone else, or before anyone can love you, before you can feel the love, receive the love of someone else. I've met someone on the dating lines and intuitively felt something wasn't right with the person and kept postponing getting back to him. He kept messaging me until I finally gave in and called him. During the first few months of our interaction, that feeling was intensified, but I overlooked it until eventually, against my better judgment, I allowed the relationship to become romantic, which only served to further accentuate his issues, making me even more reluctant to meet him. So you have never even met him?
Few months?
Yet I nevertheless waited around in hopes for him to resolve his issues so I would be inspired to meet him after all. To make a long story short, things deteriorated to the point that even a simple friendship became impossible, obliging us to finally part ways. But you never met.
I'm confused. Didn't they say they were intimate?
Well, no, it developed into a romantic relationship. But you can have a romantic relationship without ever meeting the person. So let's, Texter writes, great advice. This is from the person who wrote about the events that happened for the 55 to 60-year-olds. So I wanted to know where it was. This is happening in Brossard at Station des Sports, Saturdays, 9 to noon. So for anybody, these are singles events for the 55 plus, Saturdays at Station des Sports. They're not paying us for this, but, let's give them a little shout out so that you can have a place to go, because people ask us all the time. Does Elite have upcoming events like the one in December? This texter wants to know.
Yes, there are upcoming events. Take a look at our website. You'll be able to register in. There's one that's going to be on the 23rd of March. If you're referencing the one in December, that's going to be the one on the 23rd of March.
So the 23rd of March is one. Okay, so
yes.
People just have to basically just fill out a registration, right?
Yes, go on elitespeeddating.com. You will pick your event for your age group.
Okay.
You will register just filling a simple, quick, and easy form. Putting your age, I'm a man, I'm a woman, looking for such and such, and you're set to go.
Okay, and then you'll always be notified of when you have events.
Exactly.
Okay, great. So that's good. As a woman, this person writes, I've approached men, even with eye contact, etc., and gotten the brush off. I don't know where these receptive men are, but they're not in Montreal. Maybe you have to read the cues better. I don't know.
Are you approaching them in a way that makes them feel that you are trying to sell them something or want something more than just to meet them?
Okay, that's possible.
Look, the same way that there's a way to approach women and you don't want to creep out women, you don't just approach a guy and say hi and expect him to take the lead. Is there something you're saying or doing that's making these guys feel, this woman wants something more to me? We already had the story of the 60-year-old man who got used. And you know what? Men are worried about getting used. Are you coming across like a gold digger?
Oh, that's true. We had the people on Facebook were talking about that, fearing that they would be used for their money. My question is it okay to postpone meeting someone from the dating lines until it feels right, as opposed to abiding by standard time limit instead? It's wrong. You should meet them as soon as possible. What does that mean, until it feels right, until you feel you've developed an intimate relationship with them? I think that's a mistake, actually. Big mistake.
Meet right away. Don't break that rule. And number 2, the longer you wait, the more likely you are to be monogamous to the person, meaning you're not dating other people, you're waiting for them. Monogamy is a form of commitment, and if you do that, you'll get attached to the wrong person.
Yeah, and I really think when you meet somebody online, meet them as soon as possible. Do not develop a relationship with them online until it somehow feels like it's a great relationship, and then you meet. So meet safely in a public place, but meet soon. So don't wait till it feels anything. So if you're remotely interested, then meet soon. That's it for us. I'm so sorry for all the texts that we did not get. So I really apologize that we didn't get to all the text messages. Thank you guys for being here. Frank can be found at FrankTalks.com and Fitzgerald at EliteSpeedDating.com. I can be found at drlaurie.com if you need to get in touch with me. Thank you to Dave Simon, our technical producer. Thanks to all of you for participating in this program, and you really did tonight. You really stepped up. Thank you very much. Coming up next on CJD, it is The Comedy Show with Joey Elias. We'll talk to you again tomorrow night. Have a great rest of the evening, and remember to live your life with passion.
Need help with love, sex, dating and relationships? Visit FrankTalks.com.
If you need help with your relationships, my buddy Frank, he's got some tips. Just go to FrankTalks.com. His advice is better than your mom's. He knows what you're going through, Frank has been there too. So log on to FrankTalks.com. FrankTalks.com.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by the Adult Male Virgin Seminars and Telephone Consultations. If you are an adult and want to get a handle on this once and for all, you need this seminar. Being an adult male virgin can be most stigmatizing in today's society. You feel like a failure in the eyes of the mass culture around you, alienated from your male friends who all talk about their sexual conquests, and you must hide this shameful secret lest they use it against you. And the very personal pain, anguish, and despair that cannot be described by words that haunts you every moment of your life. Enough is enough. It is time for male virgins to take charge of their sex lives. Frank gives you the rules of winning in this seminar. The Adult Male Virgin Seminars and Telephone Consultations. Make your first time the best time of her life. Only available at FrankTalks.com. Frank helps adult boys turn into men.
Need help with love, sex, dating, or relationship issues? Help from Frank Kermit, the best-selling author and Canada's most international relationship coach, is only a click away at FrankTalks.com.